2006. You were speaking at the 65th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. I was a public affairs guy, kind of leading you around. I remember you speaking to the veterans there and telling them, speaking about their patriotism and about their love of country and all the work that they've done, that late, great generation. For the generation around here, the ones sitting and listening to today, what's our rallying cry? You said Pearl Harbor was the rallying cry of that generation. What's ours? What are we looking for in this ever-increasing global economy, global marketplace?
David and I were just talking about that on the way over. I honestly believe that we need a new compact for public service. We've got terrific programs, Teach for America, AmeriCorps, and all of those programs are great, but they're less than the sum of the parts. Less than 1% of our population, people your age, are in military uniform. That is manifestly immoral in a democratic society. To ask less than 1% of our population to spill their blood on our behalf, well, we just use our treasure to amuse ourselves. I use those two phrases because politicians are always saying we're blood and treasure, nothing more important. And then they send less than 1% of the population off to war. So your obligation as a generation, in my judgment, is to find a way that you can give back to your country, and that too will help protect the security of future generations by founding new forms of public service. One of the ideas that I have in mind is that we ought to have a public service program that is attached to skill set as well, so that you not only just go spend a year in Gabon and come home with great stories about the villages that you visit, but tactile skills that you can bring back to America and that will help you in the rest of your life. Otherwise, we'll be a divided society between those who are in uniform and those who are not, and those who are in uniform are paying, as you know, a terrible price. We're now in our third war. We were in the first two wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. We're now in a war against ISIL. However they want to describe it. That's what it is. It's a war. And it's going to define the Obama presidency one way or the other. And it's the most dangerous situation that I can remember in a long, long time. Because ISIL has demonstrated that it's amoeba-like. It can reconfigure itself wherever it wants to live off the land. And it's attracting jihadists from all over the Islamic world who feel like they want to be part of something. And in their society or in the communities in which they live, they don't feel that way. So this is a huge, huge challenge for this country. And it ought not to be left to just the National Guardsmen and people who, when they graduated from high school, didn't have any choice but to go in the military to try to earn some money and maybe get an education at some point. So you have to figure out where you fit into that mosaic.
Last question.
Last question.
Hello. It said that you represent stability and trust for the American public, and that you're a voice that they can depend on. And I was wondering, as a reporter, how you establish that trust with the American people.
Well, you establish that trust, I think, and it's fragile, by the way. Trust is very fragile. I think you establish that trust over a long curve of getting it right. When people say to me, what are you most proud of in your career? And I say, what I'm most proud of is that over now, a little more than 50 years, I've mostly gotten it right. Not every time, but when I got it wrong, I quickly acknowledged that it was wrong. I didn't try to hide behind. I stand by my sources or some of the other conventional curtains that you can put in front of you. I honestly believe you've got to go out and say, hey, got that one wrong. Here are the facts. But facts are not always as bulletproof as they seem to be. That's part of the problem. They have their own kind of spin attached to them. And you have to be constantly taking them apart, putting them back together and see if they still add up, or the context in which they have been presented to you. And it often helps to have other people looking in. There's a great phrase in our business, which is everyone needs an editor. Everyone needs to look at what you are reporting on or what you have learned and ask you tough questions about it. I'm writing a book right now. This is a perfect example. I've been working on this book for quite a while. I was diagnosed with cancer in fall of 2013, and it was a very difficult time. And I thought the way I want to get through this is to keep a journal. And then I decided to turn the journal into a book because I thought it would be helpful to other families about what happens when you get cancer. Mine was a serious cancer. It's incurable. officially, but it's manageable if we get the right treatment. I was very fortunate. I got to a place where we were able to control it, and I'm in remission, and I'm going to manage it for the rest of my day. But to get there was not easy. So there are a lot of parts to it. And I decided it could be a book, and I wrote the book. And on the first pass, my editor was, I thought, uncharacteristically enthusiastic. She thought it was the best thing I've ever written. So I was quite pleased. I had my wife read it, my daughter read it. And they're pretty critical people, and they had some things to say about it. And the chief editor read it, Random House read it. And I had it with me. And I was not unpleasantly surprised. I was a little startled to see how many improvements he could make in my book. And he did. I didn't agree with all of them, but on style and on emphasis on paragraphs and other things, I've got it with me, and he's very polite, but almost every suggestion that he made was useful and worthwhile. Others, they were stylistically, a lot of them. And then there are others who said, he would say, are you going too far here? And that's the right question to ask in many instances, and I would look at it and think about it and think, that's what I want to say. So that's a perfect example of how the process needs to work, and it doesn't apply just to books or to television in the evening, but it applies to every digital thing that you do and so on. But there's far too much of ready, fire, aim going on now with the internet. The things that are thrown out there, and they'll be there forever. And your generation has to remember that. You know, when you hit that keystroke, it's gone. And you can't retrieve it. And it can be a reflection on your character, it can be damaging to other people, it can be completely erroneous, and it's too easy to fall into that glib track of making some kind of a snarky remark about something or someone. And that's very consequential. I've actually talked to Larry Page from Google, who is those of you who know about him, he's a very shut down guy, genius obviously, and his mind is always working. And I heard him last summer for the first time talk about long-term future for the impact of Google on society and its relationship with the government and other information sources. And it was very philosophical and very thoughtful. And I saw him afterwards. I made a presentation right before him about public service, and he came over to me and said, we need to think about that more. I said, here's the other thing we need to think about, Larry, is what you have just done. It was confined to this room of high-powered executives. We need you to, once a month, from Google, have a column about, here's what you need to know about Google, and about the form that we have, and what we're thinking about, and the dangers that we face every day, and that you face them with us. He said, I hadn't thought about it. I said, I think the philosophy of Google and the reach needs to be in the public arena, and we need to develop a dialogue about it.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is